hope I have time.
Okay, put your name and section at the bottom of your paper, please. Okay. This is a person who's drawn in correct proportions. And I thought and thought and thought about how I could get you to understand where. And so I drew little light lines so to help guide you. The first thing is your pupils and your nose holes are generally the darkest things on your face. And those are colored in already for you. And if you notice, they're really dark. And they should be that dark on your portraits. Now, where do we want to start? Let's start with the eyes. We talked about your eyebrows. Did I show you the picture of Frida Kahlo?
No.
Yes? No?
Uh-oh, now I can't find it.
I'll show it to you at the end. I do eyebrows a couple of different ways. Sometimes I draw them in like hairs and make sure they lean the right way. Sometimes I just shade them in. Now, I prefer to draw the hairs in because it looks more real and more natural that way. But sometimes I shade it in and then I just use my finger a little bit and soften it up. So you can do whichever you like. So I want you to put the eyebrows in right now, please. If you've noticed, each of you has a little piece of a paper towel that's soaked. You can use it instead of your finger without your finger getting dirty. Now the eyes. Do you remember what the colored part of your eye is called? Nick?
Iris.
Your iris. And if you've ever looked really, really closely at somebody's eye, you can't really see it very well on here. But it almost looks like there's little lines that come out, almost like the spokes of a bicycle wheel. Have you ever looked? Have you ever looked at anybody's eyes that closely?
I've seen somebody where they're like really, really clear and there's like a bunch of spikes.
So when you're doing eyes, the pupil would be the center of the bicycle wheel, and then there's a lot of lines that go from it. And so I'm going to do it that way. And then I take my little towel and I sort of smooth it a little bit. Looks better already. Now, the tear duct, the red thing in the center, in the corner of your eye, it's like right here on both sides. And you can see hers. It's this little thing right here. Only ours isn't quite that big, but it's okay. And it's generally shaded. It's going to be a little darker than the eyeball. What is the purpose of shading?
To get detail.
Sean?
To give it shadow.
And what happens when you give something shadows? Kirsten? Did you say definition? Okay, I'm looking for an art word, sort of. Noah? Deb? Yeah, but why, Rachel? It shows depth. Instead of a flat face on a flat piece of paper, it tricks your eye into seeing depth. Now, on this eyeball, and hopefully it'll sharpen up here in a minute, your eyelid actually casts a small shadow right underneath. And there's a shadow a little bit on the side here and a little bit on the side here, because it's a ball. So, there's usually a very light, thin shadow that goes across, and it doesn't have to be dark, because your eyelid hangs over it just a little bit.
Wait, what did you just shoot?
Right on the underside of that dark line, because your eyelid casts a shadow there from the light. And that reminds me, this is just a general shading of the face. If you have a light that's coming from one point or another, the shadows are much more dramatic. This is just when you're going to be doing your face. These are some of the things I'm looking for. And in the corner, just a little bit, very, very lightly, and in this corner, just a little bit, very, very lightly. And then I usually use my fingers, but I want you to use the paper towels and sort of smooth it out. Am I going too fast? If I am, tell me and I'll slow down. Now, if you had dark eyes, your irises would be darker. Do you know what I mean? If somebody had light eyes, like light blue or light green, then it would be lighter. We talked about eyelashes. If you want to put eyelashes on, they the right eye sort of curves toward the right a little bit, and the left eye sort of curves to the left a little bit. And I believe somebody asked me about the lower eyelashes. Now these have mascara on them, is why they look so long. But I want you to notice that right here, there's nothing. And then the eyelashes start growing from there. So you would put your little inside eyelid right there. And I don't usually make my eyelashes look like they have mascara. A lot of times I'll just use the side of my pencil and just give a little flick for the bottom lashes. It just seems easier with the side of the pencil to give a hint that there's lashes there without having to draw each one. And pretty much, that's how I want you to do the eyes. Now, I don't know if you've noticed yet, but he or she is already starting to look pretty good. Now, let's talk about the corners of your eyes. Your nose bone is right here, and it sticks out. And because it sticks out, the light hits it here, and it casts shadows right in the corners, right here. Okay? No, they're not black, but there's shadows there. So what I do is I sort of follow the little lines I put there for you, except when you do yours you won't have these lines, but you'll have this to go by. There's that one. And there's that one. And it's usually the darkest right near where the corner is. And your eye socket is round. You remember when I showed you the skull and told you where the eye goes? When I do this, I sort of make a circle, so I keep things round. Like I'm tracing the eye socket a little bit.
I can't get that good.
Wait, can you do that part again? Because I was still working on the nose piece.
You shade this in,
Yeah.
shade this in. You're going to follow that bone that goes around your eye. It's almost like drawing a circle around your eye. Yes, sir.
Nothing's really wrong.
Maybe you're not pushing hard enough. And Noah, if it doesn't work, use your finger. Your finger will work for sure. And you're going to leave the nose bone the lightest part, which would be right here, to make it look like it's sticking out. Can you see a little depth starting? Now, your forehead. Your hair is here, and usually it casts a shadow here and here. And your head is round. It's a circle. So I'm going to make a shadow here where these lines are. And I'm going to make a shadow here. And I'm going to use my finger, and because my head is round, I'm going to make it like a curve, and I'm going this way. With these two sides being the darkest part. Mariah, is the red light still on that thing? Okay, thanks. Are you guys ready?
No.
Okay, I'll give you another minute. Now, when we did our proportions, remember I kept talking about the ball of your nose? It actually, if you feel it, it sticks out like a ball. And it's round. And the light hits it like right here, so that's going to be the lightest place. But a ball casts a shadow on the side. And there's a little shadow on this side, and it's right where your little nostrils, the side of your nostrils are. And when I use the paper towel, I move it in a circle. Like there's a ball there, and I'm tracing it. Now I don't have it marked, but remember I told you these are like the letter C? On the outside of the C, there's a little tiny bit of shading, almost like a little triangle. Almost like that. Right in here. Now yes sir.
I have a question about the cheeks.
We're not there yet. Your Filtrum, that little dent, is usually darker inside, bless you. And these two lines are lighter. So I'm going to go inside and make it a little dark right there in the middle, and then I'm going to smooth it out a little bit.
It's not smoothing out.
Use your finger.
I can use my finger.
Oh, push harder. Are you using the pencil I left at your desk?
I tried using this one, then it didn't work, so then I went to this one.
Okay. Just do the best you can.
Yeah,
Your cheeks. Your cheekbones stick out, and whatever sticks out, the light hits it, right? So the light's going to hit it here, and it's going to cast a shadow underneath. And most of the time, not always, but most of the time it's almost like a triangle that goes up under the cheekbone and then comes down the side of the face. Does that answer your question?
What I was wondering was, like, some people have, like, really big cheeks. So, like, how would that work for people that have really big cheeks?
About the same way. And usually when you're drawing somebody, you can look at them and see where the shadows are. This is just generic, general information. Hopefully, my goal is so that it will train you to look. If you already know where some of them are, and I'm going to keep this under the cheekbone. Okay, I'm not going to go up. I'm going to keep it under the cheekbone. So that this part and this part stays a little whiter. To make it look like the light is hitting it. If I can teach you to look for these places, Max, then when you're doing somebody, you know where to look, and then if it's different, you just make it the way you see it. I would like to tell you while you're working on this though, when you start to shade yours, I don't want to see these lines. The only reason I put them here is so that you know where to go. But later, when you're doing it for real to turn into me, I don't want those lines. I just want to see the shadows. Okay? This is just a guide. So are you caught up? Can I go on? Okay. My favorite thing is the lips. And I think you're going to like this because it's easy. So I think what I want to do is ask you to just watch and then you can do it after I do it. Okay? When I do the lips, the first thing I do is I darken the lines in so I don't lose them. Like if I'm going to rub it all and smooth anything out, sometimes you actually lose the lines and then people can't see where your lips were. And I don't want that, so I always darken them in first. Then, I think I'm going to turn it this way. I make a little shadow that goes across the inside of the top lip. And I make a little shadow that goes right up above the line that separates the lips. And I leave that part open. Then I do the same thing with the bottom lip, right under the line that separates the lips. And then right against the line of the bottom lip. Now that's not too impressive, is it?
Don't you smear it?
But when you push pretty hard and do this, all of a sudden it starts to look 3D.
That looks cool.
And see how easy that was? So right now I want you to shade your lips in. Your lips are sort of round, and where the light hits them, there's usually a reflection or two that you can go back in with your eraser and lighten up. If you don't have an eraser, don't worry about it right now.
This one. This one.
So that's good. Now your chin sticks out. You can actually feel your chin bones. And if you look at somebody else's lower lip, there's usually a shadow right here. Because your lower lip's sticking out, your chin bone's sticking out, and there's a dip right there, and the light doesn't get there. And that's what this little section is. And because my chin bone sticks out, I'm going around like a ball again to leave the middle part lighter. And see how it makes it look like it sticks out a little bit. Now, when you look at the face that you have, it should look a lot more 3D than it did when you first started. Your neck. Your neck is a cylinder with your head sitting on it. Cylinders are round. Because your head is on it, there's usually a shadow here and here. And that's just in regular lighting. If there's a special light and it's dramatic, then you have to look and see where the shadows really are.
No one made the picture of them.
I'm sorry.
So you can get it on the camera.
Thank you for letting me know. Is that better?
Yeah. Yeah, it's good.
Okay. Now the thing about the neck and the shadows, it's always darker right up here under the jaw, and that makes it look deeper. And because the neck is round, I bring it this way and I keep going around, and then I bring it this way. It's like the forehead. Now, the ear. Right up inside the cuff is pretty dark. And right inside that little knob where your ear hole is pretty dark. And the rest of it is usually a little lighter. Where your earlobe connects, there's usually a little shadow right there. Just right in here. And then you need to do the other one the same way. Right inside the cuff is dark. Right inside that little knob where the hole of your ear is usually dark. And the rest is shaded but not quite as dark. Where your earlobe attaches, there's just a little bit of shading.
Do we like smear it in?
You can if you want. I'll do it if you want to do it. If I smeared it in, I would just go straight up and down the ear. Like that. And I wanted to talk to you about your hair. If you have a buzz cut, which I don't really see any buzz cuts in here. If you have one, the easiest way to do them is just to come straight up with the side of your pencil and not draw every line. And you need to realize that your hair and your head stops here, so it's going to go up a little bit above it. Okay? A buzz cut. If it's a part, let's say there's a part in the middle. Your hair grows out from the root and it sort of curves up at first and then it comes down. Curving up and then going down. Excuse me. Yes. Okay. Hold on. Let's use pens. So you come up from the root and then it curves around.
Can you do both of them?
This is just for your information, so whatever is important to you, you can, whatever you think you're going to use for your self-portrait is what